Hey everybody, it's Drake Here's Dungeon. This, of course, is Spaz. You don't remember this little guy? Well, he's here today. He's hanging out with me. We're here to talk about Captain Marvel. That's right, Captain Marvel. And so you know, spoilers. There will be spoilers. But the main thing what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the reviews. And we're going to talk about Rotten Tomatoes. We're going to look at Metacritic. We're going to look at those things. We're going to read some of the ones that I found that I thought were pretty good. And fair and balanced reviews and stuff. You want down? Okay, here you go. There you go. Okay, so let's start with Rotten Tomatoes, okay? And Rotten Tomatoes has made me kind of upset because I wrote a review and I put it on Rotten Tomatoes and it will not post on Rotten Tomatoes at all. Rotten Tomatoes had over 50,000 reviews just disappear, and then their numbers went up, and that seems kind of shitty. I went on preview night. I live in the greater Orlando area, so I went over to downtown Disney to go watch it, and they had one of the larger theaters that was set aside for what they called Disney influencers, and that was YouTube people that YouTube and critics that review lots of stuff that Disney did. Disney paid for their ticket, gave them popcorn, gave them popcorn, soda, candy, and hot dog. So they gave them these 4 things, and they said, here, watch our movie, and then tell us what you think. What do you think they freaking said? You think they said anything negative? No, because if they say anything negative, this will never happen for them again. So this is at first-hand account. I was there. They had it all lined up for them. They had all the popcorn out there. Everything was there. It was kind of crazy. Secondly, there was they also do this for their corporate people. They bring their corporate people in, and they had another one of the larger theaters they had set aside just for their corporate Disney people for them to go in and watch the movie for free. I don't think they got free popcorn though. I think that was just for the critics that they brought in. If you are a critic or if you are a Disney influencer and you accept that for free, then no matter what your opinion is, I'm sorry, you were bought. You were bought. It's just what it is. There's a website out there called allears.net. Link in the description down below. When they started out, Disney gave them nothing. Disney actually, kind of went after them a little bit, but then they stopped. And then now, when the ladies that run that website, which is a great website, they come, Disney says, hey, which hotel do you want to stay in this time? And they stay in that hotel. Do you want to go in and look at these? We have these new hotels. Would you like to come down and check this out? And they go down. And they're paid to come and do this. Disney pays for their tickets. Disney pays for this. Disney pays for that. Disney pays for this. Are they going to give a negative review? No. They used to give honest reviews of stuff, but now everything is always glowing. And that is purchased journalism. That is very sad that that's happening. So if you are an influencer and you see this video, understand your review is circumspect. Okay? Yeah, I'm not sure that I believe your review. But let's get back to these reviews. Now, Rotten Tomatoes, we've got a couple. We've got, of course, let's look at the top critics first. The top critics. Very top one. The film may be about women breaking their shackles, but the lead actress feels kept in check for much of the picture. Humor winds up being provided by Sam Jackson. Heart by Lashana Lynch, which is Maria Rambeau, and Pathos as well. Pathos by, it ain't Larson. So this is a critic review. This is from the San Diego Reader. This Matthew Lacona. That's his review. That's a critic. He's a top critic, and he didn't like the film. He has a full review. I'm not going to look at his full review, but he gave it 1 out of 5. Then we've got this Mark Daniels from the Toronto Sun. He's going to give it a 3 out of 4. Does it work? The short answer is yes. There's enough to keep both diehard Marvel fans and newcomers engaged. Okay. Okay. Then we've got this Anthony Lane from the New Yorker, top critic. It doesn't give his score here, but it's a good tomato, so it's obviously above a 3. Leah Pickett, this is the one I want to show you the full review of. Okay. This is from the Chicago Reader. This is Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, is a formidable force and a welcome addition to the MCU. It's spectacular and surprising that Captain Marvel, a vivid action adventure centered on the rise of Carol Danvers, is the first film of the Marvel Cinematic Universe led by a female superhero. That's because you never let the most amazing Avenger, which of course is Black Widow, have her own stupid movie yet. Now it's been greenlit finally, but the character of Black Widow has been developed and developed and developed in the MCU. We know her, we love her, we want to see her succeed, and to give Captain Marvel the first female lead role is just crapping on all the good that was done with the great performances, a great performance by I'm blanking on her name because I'm an idiot. But everything good about Black Widow, you just pretty much said Black Widow doesn't matter. The old and the stubbornly held Hollywood belief that a superhero movie starring a woman would flop was bolstered by some painful evidence, the critical and financial failures of Supergirl. Yes, Tank Girl. I loved Tank Girl, but I think it sucked because of the kangaroos, but that's me. Catwoman was a joke, and Elektra, again, a joke. Then you have Wonder Woman, a triumph by every measure. I mean, amazing movie. It is an amazingly good movie that has a strong female lead. It's not a female lead movie that happened to be good. It started out good. They cast an amazing person for it, and that's what made it great. And conversation shifted. Studios and audiences began to wonder what if other female superhero films had failed, not because of a lack of audience interest in the leads or even a lack of demand, but because the films themselves were shoddily written, acted, directed, and marketed. Build a good movie, it turns out, and fans will come. Okay, this here, and marketed, that I kind of disagree with. I don't like the and marketed ideas. Thankfully, Captain Marvel was a good film. Okay, your opinion, not mine. Both because and notwithstanding the fact that the lead is a tough, multifaceted... She's not multifaceted. That's bullshit. Excuse my language. That is bullpokey. That is bullpoopy. That is total bullpoopy. She is not multifaceted in any way, shape, or form. She is a one-dimensional character. Co-directors, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. I don't care who the directors were. I thought the direction, if they were good directors, they would have said, hey, Brie, you need to read all this source material so you can understand what the hell your character is. Repeatedly she falls down, repeatedly she stands up. Kind of at the end, that's what we get. When Talos has captured her and he has her upside down, they're going through her memories and stuff. All the memories we see are all these men, pushing her down, pushing her down, pushing her down. I mean, one guy's, that's why they call it the cockpit, right? Heh, heh, heh. Give me a freaking break. I was in the United States Air Force. I'd never, ever heard a pilot talk like that and not have his ass handed to him by the other guys. It was absolutely stupid. Okay, where are we sitting? Okay, she repeatedly falls down and stands up. The feelings roused by this age-old perseverance story are universal. The position of Carol as a woman surrounded by male fighters, however, intensifies her underdog status and raises the stakes of an otherwise conventional hero's journey. No, it doesn't. And in fact, if you had taken the original story of Carol Danvers and just put that on the film, that would have been even better. Not only are there powerful forces in the galaxy hell-bent on her destruction, but the men in her life are quick to belittle her. Who? The men in her life are quick to belittle her? Okay, the men in her life are the asshole commander who's trying to harness her abilities for the Kree Empire. You have the no-name freaking Air Force pilot. You've got the drill instructor type guy that's pushing her to be all that she can be. Oh, they're never gonna let you fly. Yeah, because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to make you pick yourself up and come and achieve, and that's what you do. Basic training, advanced training, all of these special jobs. Being a combat pilot in the United States Air Force, I've never done it. I could never do it. But those guys and girls go through hell to be able to be in that position. because not only do you have to be able to do the job, but you have to be able to survive in the event that you were shot down behind enemy lines. There are reasons, there are absolute reasons that we have very, very few women that are in special forces. And it's because of the physical constraints. And I'm not saying that women can't do anything they want. And I want there to be, you know, women SEALs. I want there to be women Marine Sniper Corps, you know, women that are part of the, you know, forward air controllers and pararescue and, you know, all of these Army Rangers. I want there to be women that are involved in that because I believe they can achieve it. But at the same time, what she faced in this movie, if she didn't face it, then that would be discrimination. If she wasn't treated exactly like the men would be treated, and that was to treat every... If you've ever been in the military, raise your hand. Did they treat everybody like crap? Yep, sure did. Did they single you out to build you so you could, to break you down so they could build you back up into the soldier you needed to be? Yes, damn Skippy, that's what they did, because that's their freaking job. And if you don't like that freaking job, then get to stepping. There's the door. Go. Bye. See ya. Carol played with the grit and verve by Oscar winner Brie Larson. Yes, Brie Larson's Oscar she did an amazing job in that film, but not in this film. Can't remember who she is. For 6 years she lived on the planet Apala as a Kree warrior named Veers, of course because her last name is Danvers. Fighting green aliens called Skrulls across the universe. No, actually her first mission was right at the beginning of the stupid movie. So she hasn't been fighting green, but she's been indoctrinated to believe that the Skrulls are bad. And if you know anything about the history of Marvel, the Skrulls have always been bad. The Kree and the Skrulls have fought against each other for domination of the galaxy. It's not the Skrulls are like, oh, these refugees because they're getting kicked off their planet. No, if you go back to Fantastic Four back in the 1960s, the Skrulls were one of the very first things that were trying to invade Earth, and they were kicked out over and over again. And they created a new super Skrull that had the powers of the Fantastic Four, because the Fantastic Four kept kicking their ass. But that's beside the point. All right, the Kree leader of her Star Force team, Jan Rog, is Jude Law. Did a great job in that position. I thought that he was actually a very believable character because we saw him at one point and we saw who he really was, and he hid that from us really well. Great character there. Captain Marvel is in many ways peon to empathy and intuition, qualities common associated with women but beneficial to anyone willing to tap into themselves. Jude Law's character tells Veers a story about herself that on the surface she believes, but deep down she questions it. Self-knowledge is rare, especially among women whom entire industries are built to eradicate their confidence and convince them they should be more like someone else. Oh my God. Gaslighting, typically perpetrated by men who want to control women under the guise of mental superiority. She's crazy is one common refrain. All right, okay, now this review is dipping down into SJW bullshit, so we're going to drop that review now. Let's look at some of the audience reviews. Audience reviews. Okay, so top audience reviews, 1.5 stars. Why won't Rotten Tomatoes allow me? Who cares? Okay, here's a 4.5 stars by this cat L. All right. Really enjoyed the movie. Solid entry from Brie Larson and great supporting cast. Movie is not what I was expecting from the trailers. Would definitely see again. Lots of negative audience reviews. Fine if you don't enjoy it, as enjoyment is subjective, but I think there's a lot of unwarranted outrage. Well, I don't care. You're not reviewing the film. Now you're reviewing you're reviewing society's reaction to it. Okay, that's stupid. All right, okay, let's try this person. 3 stars. Good movie. Brie Larson do justice to the character. No. The cast is great, especially the chemistry between Carol and Fury. There's chemistry at first, but then it just really dies off really quickly. The story is interesting. Good 90s reference. Yeah, that was good. Clever humor, good. When she falls through into the Blockbuster and she's walking along in the aisles of the Blockbuster, look at the movies that are in the background. It's absolutely hilarious. If you ever worked at a Blockbuster, or if you remember going into a Blockbuster, you could completely go, yeah, those movies always used to be next to each other. It's pretty funny. The action scenes for the most powerful character in the universe are insufficient. There you go. She's not the most powerful character in the MCU. I'm sorry, not even close. Even the Tesseract, inside of it, had what? What was in it? The Mind Stone. So you take that Mind Stone and then you put it into the Infinity Gauntlet. That means that everything that she can do, that means that Thanos can do. So he would just bitch slap her down. But that's beside the point. Okay. The fight scenes are bad except for the Talos Furry fight. That was actually a good one. I liked that one. That was pretty good. That wasn't my favorite fight, but that was a good fight. There's no proper final fight. Marvel is very disappointing. Yes, I agree. But that person gave it 3 stars, so that's a positive review under this 5-star system. But I think it's a good critique. It's not a great Captain Marvel, but fun, enjoyable, getting us ready for Endgame. I hope that it gets us ready for Endgame. Let's scroll down. Let's go over a couple pages. Just randomly go over like 3 pages. There's 1, 2, and now 3. And let's look at what we got. Okay, 1 star. Bland, another Ant-Man level movie. I disagree. I thought Ant-Man was a little better. Captain Marvel is miscast, bringing little to the film. Once she's in Endgame, she'll be outacted in minutes. Sam Jackson was awesome. Okay, 4.5 stars by this Dylan E. Far better than expected. Saw it last night after being skeptical from the trailers. Had a blast. It's pretty classic Marvel, but the formula is refined to a point where it's a good movie. There were way more twists than I expected too, none of which fell flat. Go see this. Don't listen to all the hate. Okay, so he's kind of reviewing. So that's a solid review. Not a really long one, but a solid one. 2 star. Bland, bad direction, bad acting scenes, bad character development, bad script, lack of charisma for a protagonist. The only good parts were Nick Coulson and the cat and some Jude Law. It's not enough for a Marvel movie. It isn't enough for a movie who's presents as the next lead of the Marvel Universe. No stars, but it says want to see it, so I don't care about you. The disconnect that the actress seems to have while in character made me disconnect from the film and couldn't help myself engage with the film with its subpar plot. Okay. Captain Marvel until now Thor is what made Fury think about alien invasion, not to mention, no mention of this though. And that's true. They really do a lot of retconning here, which it just doesn't seem to fit. They're kind of shoehorning it in. Alright, so let's go over to Metacritic. Oh, here's a review. This is, okay, let's look at this Metacritic. Okay, Metacritic is an overall Metascore of 65 right now, based on 53 critics and all the other users. The user score gives it about a 3.1. That's very unfavorable on Metacritic. So my review, I gave it 4 stars. That's why you see that. If we go down here, okay, so we've got user review 10. This movie is great fun, and I'm going to watch it a second time for sure. My expectations were really high, and it matched them. Brie Larson plays a refreshingly unpretentious Carol Danvers, much more like a Guardian of the Galaxy rather than an Avenger. Okay, unpretentious? Really? Oh my God, we did not watch the same movie. I can see why 391 people have voted you down. All right, now, I was going through Metacritic and I found this review here, and I'm going to actually, no, that wasn't the one. That's mine. This is my review. I'll read you my review. Okay, this review contains spoilers. Captain Marvel was a movie. Yes, that is a fact. Brie Larson portrayed Captain Marvel in the movie. Another fact. Samuel L. Jackson was in the movie as Nick Fury. That's my last fact. Okay, now let's go for opinions. From the opening scene of Captain Marvel to the closing credits, the emotional ride was stagnant. There were moments of action and levity, but at no point did I feel that there was any real struggle or worry about the outcome. This, I believe, is due to the knowledge that this picture is taking place in the past, and the characters that make appearances in the film and appear in the movies later in the timeline meant nothing terrible is going to happen to them. As different characters make their way onto screen and they are recognized and our foreknowledge takes away from their story. This makes the tension in some scenes forced and unbelievable. There is very little worry that a character's life or existence is at risk because I know they will be in the same position or present in the Avengers, Iron Man, etc. Or maybe in a chronological viewing of the MCU, you could argue that an individual with no prior knowledge of the story or their players would have a greater enjoyment in viewing this film. That's what I think. I think that if you have no idea, you watch this film first, and then you go and you watch Iron Man, then you go and you watch Thor, then you go and you watch them in chronological order. Actually, Hulk comes before that, but you watch them in chronological order, you might be able to say, okay, I can believe this story. I might, and you've never had any knowledge beforehand. Okay, let's see, where do we go? Unfortunately for the majority of fans seeing this film, whether they admit it or not, the risk versus reward tension is just not there. The character of Carol Danvers is a very good character in the comics, with a rich backstory and internal struggle for who she is and was and wants to be. The depiction we get in the movie is a very watered down version that never makes me root for her to overcome the bad guys. I do not blame Brie Larson for this entirely. A lot of the blame falls on the pedestrian character development and dialogue written for her to work with. Now, had she spent a weekend researching the character and tried to work the backstory and the wealth of character development that already exists into her portrayal, I'm sure that we would have had a better reception from audiences. Now here, the rest of this has spoilers in it. Okay. The story of how she was rescued by the Kree and the Kree nursed her back to health and how she had no memories of her prior existence, along with the, I guess we can call it a neural inhibitor, had me scratching my head. The source material puts Captain Marvel as a scout to see about the technology on our planet, and he protects the planet. And then Carol gets hurt. He had met Carol. There's a blood transfusion, and wham bam, she has superpowers. In the film, she obtained the powers from the cosmic cubes, the Tesseract, via a light-speed engine explosion built by a renegade Kree scientist trying to end the Kree Skull War. While the Kree are the true villains of the film, we are led down a rabbit hole where the Skrulls are the aggressors. This flies in the face of 60 years of canon in the Marvel Universe, the appearance of Ronan and his attack against the Earth that Carol defeated by playing Missile Command. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, that was my favorite action portion, is when she grabs this missile and she like throws at the other missiles and it explodes and then boom, 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 boom. It's like she was playing Missile Command, and it was really funny for me. I just started laughing, and my wife turned to me, she goes, "What's so funny?" I said, "Missile Command," and she doesn't play video games, so. This one sequence was absolutely enjoyable, and whoever pitched the idea deserves a raise. Let's now talk about the cat. Just because it looks like a cat doesn't mean it's a cat. Today it's a flurkin. What the heck is a flurkin? Well, cross a tabby, Cthulhu, and a pocket dimension, you get a freaking flurkin. Goose, the flurkin, is adorable, and the kinship with Nick Fury is great. And now we know what took Nick's eye in the MCU, anyway. Agent Coulson was disappointing, and I love both the character and Clark Gregg. So how such a monumental experience involving the Skrulls and the Kree, and how he is clueless in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really let me down. The community of the character's knowledge, the continuity of the character knowledge is broken by this movie. But I can accept a minor issue there. We could say, oh, they all got amnesia. I don't know. So overall, I would recommend people watch this film. And I do. I recommend go out and watch the film. I've actually watched it twice. I watched it on preview night, which of course I had the initial reaction, non-spoiler review. And then I went and watched it a second time today because I took my mother-in-law and I took my my youngest child to watch the movie. So I would recommend that you go watch this film. Don't go watch it twice, but go watch this film. Hate Brie Larson if you want. But I'm not going to do that. But I am a believer that the MCU draws from previous movies. If you didn't watch Black Panther, you had little knowledge of the MCU and you didn't read anything, Infinity War must have been confusing as hell to you, because why go to Wakanda? It makes no sense unless you have that prior knowledge. So go watch this knowing it will matter in Endgame. At least I believe that it's going to matter in Endgame. So the movie as a standalone film sucked, in my opinion, but I think it's needed for the overarching story that we spent the last 10 years following and experiencing. So that was my review on the movie. I hope you enjoyed it. There's tons of reviews, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 2, 4. Even over here in the critical reviews, we've got 90, 83, 8, 78, 76, 60. Wall Street Journal gave it a 60. The film doesn't give Miss Larson enough good stuff to fulfill her role's potential. Her Captain Marvel is an appealing character, becomes an impressive one, wrapped in a shimmering aura of blue and white energy. What's missing, though? What helped make Wonder Woman an exemplary figure of female empowerment 2 years ago. Unforced warmth, along with strength and flashes of delight. Yeah, that is exactly right. Well, not exactly right, but that's a lot closer. New York Post, this Johnny Olkowinski he gave it a 38. Dang. What's said to be Marvel's most powerful superhero ever is served melatonin by Larson. There is precious little texture or detail, ups and downs, or emotions of any kind in her performance. Absolutely right. She's flat. That's the biggest problem, I think, is that she's flat. At the very beginning, she has like these witty quirks, and then she gets a line later on where she takes Nick Fury's little pager thing that we saw at the end of Infinity War. She takes a pager and she goes, you can't use this, because he used it to contact his people to say, hey, I'm being held against my will. You need to come over here. Not held by her, but, and so that's how they were able to find her. But that, and he goes, you can't have that because you can't be responsible for technology. And he's like, what? That line was kind of funny. But she's not giving the good lines. The lines that she's given, she doesn't deliver them in a way that it makes me go, oh man, that was really funny. She isn't a funny character in this. Not the same that she's supposed to be funny all the time, but she's supposed to be witty. Carol Danvers is witty in the comic books. Why can't she be witty in the film? But that's all I have to say, guys. I'm done. I'm completely parched. So, as a reminder, like, subscribe, share the video, comment down below. If you hate me, say get off the internet. If you like me, say get off the internet. Either way. Follow us over at minds.com/Drake here, or over on Twitter @Drake here. And as always, we'll see you on the flip side. Bye, guys.